Now, for John F. Kennedy began the immeasurably harder task of translating all his promises and dreams into action. And his youthful confidence was badly shaken by three major crises within the first 6 months of his administration, in far-off places like Asia and Berlin, and close to home in Cuba, where an attempted invasion ended in disaster. It was a more somber and experienced president who addressed the nation in July of 1961.
When I ran for the presidency of the United States, I knew that this country faced serious challenges. But I could not realize, nor could any man realize who does not bear the burdens of this office, how heavy and constant would be those burdens.
15 months later, Kennedy was to face the most momentous decision of his career, as the world was brought to the brink of nuclear war with the Soviet Union. The crisis was precipitated by the installation of Russian offensive missiles on the island of Cuba, only 90 miles from American shores. President Kennedy appeared on national television to deliver an ultimatum to the Soviet government: take the missiles out of Cuba.
This nation is opposed to war. We are also true to our word. Our unswerving objective, therefore, must be to prevent the use of these missiles against this or any other country, and to secure their withdrawal or elimination from the Western Hemisphere. We will not prematurely or unnecessarily risk the course of worldwide nuclear war, in which even the fruits of victory would be ashes in our mouth. But neither will we shrink from that risk at any time it must be faced.
For 10 fearful days, with the fate of the entire world hanging in the nuclear balance, the two great powers stood eyeball to eyeball. And then Russia blinked. The missiles were withdrawn and the missile sites dismantled. To many people, this was Kennedy's finest presidential moment. But to Kennedy himself, the Cuban crisis merely heightened his conviction that the nations of the world must strive and work for a lasting peace. More specifically, the weapons of war must be brought under control and eventually eliminated.
Mankind must put an end to war, or war will put an end to mankind.
Shortly after Kennedy took office, the Soviet Union broke a 3-year moratorium on nuclear testing in the atmosphere. Reluctantly, Kennedy ordered similar atmospheric tests by the United States. From this time on, he unswervingly dedicated his efforts to achieving a nuclear disarmament treaty with the Soviet Union. Opposition to a nuclear pact was heavy, but Kennedy refused to be deterred from his goal. And on July 25, 1963, a treaty was signed by the United States, Russia, and Great Britain.
Yesterday, a shaft of light cut into the darkness. Negotiations were concluded in Moscow on a treaty to ban all nuclear tests in the atmosphere, in outer space, and underwater. For the first time, an agreement has been reached on bringing the forces of nuclear destruction under international control. The achievement of this goal is not a victory for one side. It is a victory for mankind.
The skies of the world were now clear of poisonous radiation, and the visions of men like John F. Kennedy could now turn upward toward civilization's new unexplored frontier, outer space. To Kennedy, the vast uncharted sea of the universe held unlimited promise for this and future generations.
The great British explorer George Mallory, who was to die on Mount Everest, was asked why did he want to climb it. He said, because it is there. Well, space is there, and we're going to climb it. And the moon and the planets are there. And new hopes for knowledge and peace are there. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked.
For John Fitzgerald Kennedy, life was a great adventure and a challenge. He met life on its own terms with zest and vigor and joy. And then on November 22nd, 1963, in Dallas, Texas, an assassin's bullet cut that life short. But John Kennedy's vision and spirit lived after him. He had brought his country to its feet and moved the American people into the new frontier. His term of office was short, but his heritage was for all time. His candle burns brightly, and his inspiration lights the world.
The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.